Hi, my name is Rebecca, and welcome to this Slow Flow Deep Release class, a somatic yoga practice designed to help you slow down, reconnect, and truly listen to your body. In this class, we're going to explore gentle, mindful movement to calm your mind and reset your nervous system. This is a space to move intentionally, to breathe deeply, and to feel what your body is ready to release. We'll begin by flowing through soft, grounding movements like cat-cow and flowing bridge, awakening energy and creating space through the spine. Between these gentle flows, we'll pause in longer restorative postures. A heart opener supported by a bolster, a supported bridge using a block, and a reclined pigeon to open through the hips and to let go of some of that stored energy. You don't need any special equipment. If you have a bolster or block, that's wonderful. If not, a pillow, rolled blanket, a belt, or a strap will work beautifully. This somatic class is for everyone, so let's get started. So today we're going to begin on our back, so just getting comfortable, and of course, if this is not a comfortable space for you, please find a comfortable position to begin. I'm just beginning to maybe notice the sounds in the space, noticing the temperature, and then just beginning to notice your body in this space, the surface beneath you, noticing the heels, the calves, the glutes, arms, shoulders, back of the head, all connected to the mat. And as you draw your awareness to this connection, maybe your body begins to sink a little deeper, feeling a little more grounded, a little more connected. Maybe roots begin to grow from all of those connections from your body, beginning to pull up that safe, secure earth energy, feeling held by the earth like a nice big hug. Maybe with every breath, just allowing this energy to move up through these roots on the inhales. And as you exhale, releasing any energy draining down back into the earth that's no longer serving you. If it's in your practice to deepen your breath, taking a couple deep breaths here. Allowing that energy exchange as you breathe. And then I want you to check in with your body here, just noticing any sensations that are present. And just allowing them to be here, taking a moment to acknowledge these messages. Maybe the hands move onto the body or into those parts that are feeling those sensations. Maybe a little bit of movement wants to come in if you want to move the feet or the toes. Move the hands, noticing those sensations. Feeling the body beneath your hands. Maybe the head and neck want to turn from left to right. Maybe it's a completely different motion or movement that your body is asking for. Just listening here to those messages being sent and honoring what the body is asking for. An option to follow my guidance or to move your body in any way that feels right here. Maybe you're reaching those arms alongside the ears, stretching out, taking a nice lengthening stretch for the body. Maybe flexing and pointing the toes, wiggling the fingers. breathing as you stretch here. Option to bring those soles up to the mat, bending the knees. Arms can stay alongside the ears if that's nice, or you can move them to a T. Beginning some windshield wipers here, just dropping the knees slowly from left to right. Maybe inhaling as you move to center and exhaling as you drop those knees over. Finding your pace, maybe noticing that pace and even slowing it down more. We tend to rush through these movements, rush through life. So just taking time to slow down the nervous system, to send those signals of safety. We're not running from any danger when we're slowing down. We're going to move into a reclined twist here. So bringing the knees, dropping them over to one side. Arms can come out in a T. Maybe you're gazing over that opposite shoulder. You can always place a pillow or a bolster or a block underneath those knees if they don't reach all the way to the mat. Finding that breath. Staying with the body here. Noticing that area that's opening. And maybe you're directing that breath into that area. Noticing what breath you need. Maybe you're deepening the breath, or maybe it's just flowing naturally. Knees can come to center, dropping them down to the other side. Maybe gazing over that opposite shoulder if that's comfortable. Adjusting your position, making this posture your own. Finding that breath, noticing that area that's stretching and opening in the body. Directing that breath into that area. As you're here in these postures, you can even notice any sensations that might be arising in certain areas of your body as you move. Any emotions, or maybe it's just sensations that you're noticing. We don't have to attach a story or a label to everything. Breathing. And bringing those knees back to center. Soles can come down to the mat, arms alongside the body. Palms can be facing down. We're going to do some rolling bridges here. And we're going to match that breath to movement. So on the inhale, lift the hips up. And as you exhale, lower the hips down to hover the mat. Inhaling as you lift, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips up. And exhaling, lowering to hover. Taking some more of these at your own pace. Again, maybe slowing it down. Regulating that nervous system. Sending those safety signals as we slow our movement down. If you'd like to hold at the top for a couple breaths, please feel free. When you're ready to take a break, just bring those hips down to the mat when you're ready. Otherwise, continue breathing with this motion, with this movement. Bringing your awareness to that area once again that's stretching or opening, moving those muscles. We tend to hold that energy in different parts of our body. So as we bring our awareness there, allowing this energy that's maybe been stuck for decades to release as we use that breath and that movement. Let's bring those hands onto the belly and just take a moment to check in, noticing any sensations in the body, noticing that breath. Maybe there's movement that you need. Windshield wipers, once again, if you'd like, moving those knees back and forth. If there's something different you need, maybe you're shaking those feet out, lifting those knees. Maybe lengthening the legs one at a time, bouncing the feet on the mat, whatever is in your practice. When you're ready, those soles can make their way up to the mat, and we're going to bring the right ankle over the left knee, finding that figure 4, and noticing here how that feels. Maybe noticing whether you want to lift that left sole up off the mat. Maybe the arms can reach around and grab behind the left thigh, pulling that knee in. You can always use a strap or a belt, something even from the house that you can kind of wrap around that thigh and pull that knee towards the chest, making those arms a little longer. If that's too much, you can always use the block and just place the block under that left sole. Maybe bring that heel, that block, as close as you can get to the glute. So finding whichever variation works for you today. And then once you're in that position, I want you to notice again that area that is opening, that is stretching, bringing your awareness there, and then finding that breath. As you inhale, maybe there's a white light, that healing light moving in, circulating in that area. And then as you exhale, releasing, letting any of that old stale energy go. Maybe you're finding a little bit of movement from left to right. Maybe it's very small. Noticing where you need this stretch in your body. Maybe holding in certain areas or positions, and then finding that breath. There's no right or wrong way to move your body, to find these stretches. We're here to listen to our body, to exchange that energy, to notice where we need to release that trauma, those emotions that have maybe been stored for a long time. Let's release that leg now, bring both soles to the mat, and just taking a moment to check in. Maybe the hands come to the stomach. Maybe you're just noticing any sensations, maybe tracking those sensations. If you need any movement here, you're welcome to take that, lengthening the legs up to the sky or bringing the knees into chest for a nice big hug. Just checking in. And when you're ready, we can bring that right ankle over that left knee, coming into that figure 4 on the opposite side. And you're going to find your variation here. So maybe you're using the hands to pull that knee in. Maybe you're grabbing that strap once again or using the block. Just noticing where you want to be on this side of the body. And once again, you're going to notice that area that's opening and stretching. And you're going to use that breath, breathing into that area. Taking some nice deep breaths into that right hip as you inhale, imagining that white light moving in, circulating, grabbing any of those old stale emotions, stuck energy. And as you exhale, imagine that stale energy leaving your body. Finding any motion from left to right if it's needed. Noticing any sensations that might be coming up as you breathe, as you hold this posture, open these muscles. And then when you feel complete, maybe you're releasing that right soul if it was lifted and uncrossing, taking a moment to check in. Maybe those hands are on the body. Maybe those knees want to move in that windshield wiper motion again. Maybe you need a little bit of a shake with the legs. Just noticing what your body needs here to just release a little. And then from here, we're going to grab those blocks or whatever prop you're using. We're going to lift those hips and we're going to place the block at the sacrum level and just release down onto it. You can kind of decide or play with which level you would like to use, either the smaller level or the medium. Maybe you're using a pillow, folding that pillow in half and placing it in that area. This is our supported bridge. Maybe you're using that bolster and placing that under those hips. And just taking a moment here, noticing the soles on the mat. Maybe those arms are coming out into a T to really open that heart here. I'm just checking in with how this posture feels, that opening, the front side of the hips, the front side of the body. Noticing any sensations that might be moving through here. Allowing that breath to flow. And maybe taking a couple deep breaths, nice deep inhales. And then releasing with sound. That audible exhale. Option to lengthen those legs here. Now you can do one at a time, or maybe you're lengthening both so you're rounding over that block. Our psoas muscle runs along the front side from our leg. It attaches our leg to our hip and all the way up into our diaphragm. And this muscle is connected to our fight-flight response. So it can get rigid over time, can get tight. So stretching it, bringing that mobility back in is really important. If we spend a lot of time in that fight-flight throughout our life, this muscle is always getting activated. So it needs to be given some love here. And then bringing those soles back up to the mat. Maybe those knees want to come up towards the chest, and maybe you want to bring the legs right up into a waterfall. Arms can be down alongside the body, or maybe they're out in that T. And just noticing the feet kind of lingering in the air and the legs in this space here. Maybe the toes or the ankles want movement, or maybe you're just in stillness. Noticing the sensations move in as you're here. Noticing what the mind says. Connecting back to those sensations with curiosity. That tingling, that numbness that might be moving in. Just sitting with those sensations and allowing them to be. No need to escape any discomfort. We're not in any danger. And just noticing those sensations with curiosity. And then maybe those knees begin to bend. And slowly bringing those soles back down to the mat. You're welcome to remove the prop from underneath your hips. And then here again, just checking in and noticing if there's any movement. Hands might want to gravitate towards the body. Maybe those knees want to sway. Maybe they want to come into chest, or maybe you want to shake those legs out, shake those feet to release. And then come on over to your side, and we're going to come into a tabletop. So please take your time to come here. We're going to sit back in our child's pose here. So those hips are going to come back towards the heels, and that forehead can come down to the mat. There's multiple ways you could do this. You can bring the block underneath the forehead if that forehead doesn't make it down to the mat. Your knees could also be separated on the mat so that your torso is between the legs, or you could keep those knees together. So wherever you would like to be, finding your variation of child's pose, and then taking some breath here. And as you inhale, really noticing that breath moving in. Notice the back side of the body open and expand as you inhale. And as you exhale, releasing, letting go. And then maybe you're staying right here, or maybe you're wanting a side stretch. You can bring those hands over to the right, bringing in a stretch into the left side of the body. Again, noticing that area that's opening and taking a couple breaths. Feeling that opening, that expansion, and then letting go as you release that breath. Come on back to center, bring those hands over to the left, and find that opening, that stretch for the right side, breathing here. As you inhale, that opening, that expansion, imagine any energy that is hiding in there. You're grabbing it on those inhales as everything opens and expands, and then as you exhale, releasing it out. Come on back to center. Come on up into a tabletop. Hands can be under shoulders, knees under hips. And let's open the left arm up and then come into thread the needle. Left arm comes under the right. Left ear comes down towards the mat. Maybe it's on the mat. Maybe you're using the block to bring the mat up to you. Noticing that opening, noticing that stretch in the left shoulder, the twist in the upper body. And again, finding that breath. Allowing yourself to surrender into this posture. Come on back to center, preparing for that other side when you're ready. Maybe you need some wiggling or some shaking. Right arm can open up to the right, and then bring that right arm under the left, coming into thread the needle. Right ear, right shoulder is down on the mat, or again, adjusting as you need. Maybe you're hovering, maybe you're using a prop. Find that opening and breathing into that opening. And then unwinding, coming back to center, again finding any wiggles, any motion you might need. And then let's move into some cat-cows when you're ready. As you inhale, let's bring that belly down towards the mat, crown and tailbone come up. And as you exhale, round that spine like a rainbow up towards the sky, tucking the head and the tailbone. Inhale, belly down, crown and tailbone up. Exhale, rounding that back up towards the sky. And then making this, again, this motion your own. So maybe you're finding a little bit of motion or movement back and forth as you move through this cat-cow. And then from here, let's come into a little bit of a plank and just lower down onto the mat. We can bring those hands, stack them under the forehead here. And just take a moment on your belly, just noticing how this feels. Maybe you'd like to shake out those hips a little bit. And just shaking them a little bit from left to right. Releasing any of that tension, that energy in those hips, that sacral chakra, that root. Noticing any sensations moving through or coming up as you find this little bit of a shake here. And then maybe you're continuing whenever you decide to come to stillness, just taking a moment to check in with how the body feels here, how that motion felt, any sensations. And then let's bring those hands to either side of the chest and just peel that chest up, coming into a baby cobra for a moment. Elbows alongside the body. Come on back down. And then let's push back into a child's pose, sitting those hips to the heels. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift that head. So maybe you're still sitting on those feet. We're just going to work with the neck and the shoulders here. Right ear can drop to the right shoulder, just allowing gravity to pull the ear towards the shoulder. Come on back to center. Left ear can come towards that left shoulder. Noticing that opening, that stretch for the right side of the neck, allowing that breath to flow. And then maybe the chin just begins to rock back and forth along the chest. Each ear just coming towards the shoulder. You're welcome to come into full circles, bringing that head all the way around. Just making sure you're going in both directions. And then let's do some shoulder rolls. Inhale the shoulders up towards the ears and then release them back and down. Another big inhale up and exhale back and down. And then taking a moment here to check in, noticing the shoulders, the space you've created. And maybe beginning to look around your space a little bit, looking up, looking behind you, noticing your surroundings here, orienting with that sense of sight here. So next we're going to be moving into a heart opener. So you can grab your bolster here, whatever prop you have. You're going to place it lengthwise on the mat. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a pillow. You can fold that pillow in half if you'd like. You can use a rolled up towel. And then you're just going to lay back onto that bolster or that pillow. And just noticing that heart, that chest opening here. Arms can be alongside the body. You could also bring them out into more of a T. Legs might be straight on the mat. If that's uncomfortable, you can always bend those knees and bring those soles up to the mat as an option as well. Noticing here where you're comfortable. And then bringing your awareness to your heart center, the center of your chest. And just noticing what energy is present here. Maybe there's sensation, maybe there's heaviness or lightness. Sometimes we can hold a lot of dense energy here in the heart. That grief or that loss can sit heavy here. So just noticing, and maybe just bringing your awareness and noticing that breath, using that breath, directing it into the heart, just allows some of that heavy, dense energy to lift here. Allowing that energy of the heart chakra, that love, that gratitude, to really open up, begin to move throughout the body. Maybe taking a moment to just think of some of the things that you are grateful for, all of the blessings in your life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if it's available for you today, really feeling that energy, that love, that gratitude move through the body. When we feel this energy, we attract more of these high frequency emotions, that love, that gratitude into our life. Not that we can ignore those lower frequency ones, but we tend to pay more attention to the negative than to the positive. So really soaking in that love, that joy, that gratitude when it moves into your energy field. And taking a few moments here to just notice this energy, notice the heart, notice that breath. And then when you feel ready, maybe you're beginning to find some movement. Maybe you're rolling off to the side and just removing that bolster or pillow. And if you're coming back onto your back, just noticing what motion again you need. Those windshield wipers are always nice. Maybe the knees want to come up for a nice big hug. Taking whatever you need to release that back. Maybe it's a child's pose. Maybe it's a reclined twist. And then when you're ready, we're going to be coming into our final posture, Shavasana. So I encourage you to get comfy here. Maybe the bolster wants to come under the knees, maybe the pillow under the head, or maybe you just want to be flat on your back in traditional Shavasana. Maybe you're in a different position, seated or on your side. Just taking the next 5 minutes or so to just allow all of that energy that we've moved from the body just to settle. Maybe the hands are on the body, maybe they're alongside the body. If they're on the body, maybe you're following that breath, the rise and the fall of the stomach as you breathe, that natural rhythm, that natural pace. And just taking the final few minutes of your practice to just be right here in this present moment. Coming back to that anchor at any time. Maybe it's the breath, maybe it's the music, maybe it's the sensations in the body. ready to bring some motion back in, maybe those hands come up for a hug, just crossing along the chest, kind of grabbing either arm, so calming and soothing for the nervous system. As you do this, just noticing any changes in energy or sensations that arise. And when you're ready to bring more movement in, please begin to do so. Feet maybe beginning to wiggle or move. Maybe the head begins to move. Doing so slowly, and again, really noticing just the energy present here. Noticing how you're feeling, noticing any emotions that might be present. And then maybe you're beginning to make your way up into a seat, rolling onto your side, pushing yourself up. If you'd like to stay where you are welcome to stay there. Bringing those hands to your heart and finding some gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me today.